Well, it helps when you take your microphone off of mute. I had this beautiful one recorded, and then I went and it's drawing audio, and I see nothing. I'm like, so here we go. Part 2, take 2. All right, discussion post 2, week 2. I went ahead and put in there 2 to 3 of my podcasts that I like. I also gave a couple different magazines that I follow. Google Teacher Tribe. Love it. I mean, that's who I kind of model my idea of what I want to do through there. I wrote to Matt Miller, who's one of the co-hosts on there, Matt Miller and Casey Bell. And he's like, well, we just do talking points. We have a Google Doc that we share, and it's up on our screen, and we go through and we talk about those points, make sure we discuss them, and then they elaborate a bit more. What I thought was pretty cool was he also shared another tool where I can have 3 people on a call at one time, and it doesn't record the phone call that you're having, it records the computer that you're talking to. And I'm like, what? And then I just go and mash it all together. So I was like, yay! Another tool to try out. So that's why I'm hoping actually, instead of, my final assignment 5 is going to be the actual podcasts themselves. The first one is going to be like, my practice run on the podcast. So my rough draft will be where I read it the first time or go through and record it. And then my final draft will be where I tweak it. And it sounds much better. And I take out any ums and ands. And that's the hardest part. It's filling those gaps and not saying, so it's going to be one of my hardest things that I'm going to have to work on. So these articles that I like to read is through the TCEA and ISTE. I am a member of both organizations, and so I get their quarterly magazines. And believe it or not, I do read them. It was pretty cool because I was reading the TCEA. No, it was ISTE's Empowered Learner. I think Chad Flexen, who was one of the examples that we were given towards the beginning of the school this course that we were in, or the classes that we've been taking. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's talking COVA. I know this. He's co-authoring with Harapnik and Thibodeau. I was like, cool. And so I think it was actually for this class that he wrote that for, and then he submitted it. So I was like, hey, this is kind of cool. Granted, it was after I'd already talked to Dr. H about being able to do a lovely podcast instead. Maybe I'll even get an interview with him in here on my podcast. We'll see. You never know. So again, to Google Teacher Tribe is one of my favorite podcasts. The TeacherCast.net has more teacher educational podcasts. So, you can search through that and find anything that you're looking for. Same thing with the EduPodcast Network. They've got multiple. Another one, Duct Tape EDU, I think was a pretty good one. Jake Miller? I think Jake Miller records that one. How do I store my tools and resources, information I'm going to do? Wakelet. Love it, love it, love it. I have it on my phone now. It's great. So when I'm sitting there at the doctor's office and I have all these open tabs for articles that I found in either Twitter or in Facebook, and I'm sitting there and I'm trying to read them and I don't always have time to read them all, well, I just copy the link and paste it into my Wakelet. So I share 2 of my Wakelets with you. One of them is just technology ideas where it's a blog post or it's a podcast or it's a web page about ideas that you can use in the classroom for technology-wise. And the other one is actual tools, where the technology tools is more of a specific tool per application. I also love to save my articles that we have to do for class. So when we have to read articles for oh my goodness, the class we just finished, what was it, 5317? Oh my Lord, that was lots of reading. Or was it 5318? I don't know. All I know is that this thing, it was article, and I did not have time to sit there in front of my computer with active internet. Because if you know me, I don't have great internet at my house. So what I was able to do was at work, I clipped the article, got rid of all the advertisement on the page, clipped it to my OneNote, and that's why I shared it so you can see how I did it. And then you go in there, and when I'm on my iPad later, once I open it within the internet, like at work, downloads all those information, it updates it, I can go offline, no more internet, no more active Wi-Fi, and I can still read all those articles. I can even make notes in it if I wanted to. I was like, wow. And then you can share it with others. You can share it with students, and they can edit them. I was like, what? So I guess it's kind of like a live binder, but it's more of a interactive live binder because you can share it. I do have Dropbox posted, but I don't really use much of Dropbox anymore because I have become a Google girl. Google and Microsoft, believe it or not, I actually use a lot of the both together. Like, I've kind of married them. But Google is like the king when it comes to collaboration. They have the best tools, in my personal opinion, on ways to interact with others. You can have a Google Hangout. You can share a slide. You can be sharing your screen with them. They can see what you're doing. You can be talking about the same document that you're into. I mean, it's just, there's so much collaboration just built right into Google Tools, the whole G Suite thing. Microsoft is getting there. They're doing pretty good. That's what I like about the OneDrive. You could do a Skype Hangout. Well, I say Skype Hangout. You can do a Skype. And then you can share the links to an article that you're working on, you're typing up in Word, and someone else can go in and make comments just like they do on Google. So they're trying. They're behind the ball, but they're trying to catch up. Areas of interest for me that I'm going to write about or talk about, it's going to be definitely tech use in the classroom. I know I'm going to start off with helping my teachers, goals. What goals do you want to set for yourself and how to set those goals? Also is going to be definitely my personal experience with COVID. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I love the fact that I can talk my discussion posts. Granted, I only do the recordings. Believe it or not, I do the recordings when I have more time to get the assignment done, because it's a lot easier to just type something up really quick to throw it in there like I did last week. Sorry guys, it was kind of late. A lot going on. But like, if I have time to actually sit and think, have up my talking points, I can talk it out and explain it a little bit better. So that's why I tend to do a recording. Sorry, this one's running kind of long. I plan on doing it smaller from this point on. But the transition from theory to practice, model. Today I just had a little mini PD. I call them my little tech tidbits with my second grade teachers, and I was introducing them to Class Kick because they're getting ready to do some task cards and stuff, and they want to be able to see what their kids are doing at the time. I started off showing them how you can have a task card, take the image of the task card, record your voice reading that thing to them, and then the kids can write directly on the screen. They can type on the screen. They can record themselves talking out the problem. I mean, how cool is that? So, and I started off modeling it with them. I started off with, here's a lesson I want you to try. And so they're doing it, and then I turned my Chromebook around to where they could see the teacher side of it, what it looks like as a teacher, and they also got to experience a teacher or as a student. So modeling is the key to the whole thing of getting it from theory to practice. In other words, practice. You got to practice it. Anyway, see y'all in the response posts.